Welcome to Meet Me Halfway. I am Jordan Griffith. He is Austin McNorton. We are so sorry for missing last week's episode. I should have tweeted. I should have, but I didn't. I figured our fans were loyal enough to stick through us through this rough time in scheduling. But here we are on a glorious Monday. We are officially going to talk about the draft, something that we've been trying to talk about for what seems like 15 years now. So I'm just very excited.
Honestly, because we did talk about it last week, but, then it didn't happen. So
yeah, no, we talked about it, but then it was erased from all of history because of your internet.
Right, my internet.
Right. Yeah, and if you guys don't know, this is a hat. I'm wearing one.
I like it.
Does not.
I never wear a hat, so
yeah.
I wouldn't recommend doing it.
It's not even. It's just a part of your head now. It's been on there so long.
Honestly. Someone told me at Northwest is because I was when I broadcasted the spring football game and I didn't wear a hat, and someone was like, "That's the first time I've ever seen your head."
Yeah, that's how it is. I'll be honest. I've known you for a while now. I can count on one times the amount of times I've seen your hair. So
yeah,
it's tough. It's tough stuff. I mean, you don't like reveal. Get it. You have a poker face on all the time. That's just how it is.
That's also part of the reason we weren't able to do the show on Thursdays because I was moving out of Maryville. Well,
yes, you guys haven't noticed, new background. Yes, new background. I like the leather chair. Got the Wildcat in the background. He's got some Spider-Man.
Yeah, this is temporary. I don't know what else I should do. I don't know. You got a good setup. I don't have that suite of stuff or anything.
Well, I mean, it's just the fact that I'm better than you, and that's fine with me.
That's right.
I can live with that because our background really reflects how we are as people. Therefore, superior background. I mean, I hate to say it. I hate to say it.
You're at your home. I was at my recording studio at school. But right.
And I might have still had the better background, but that's debatable. It's okay. It's okay. Okay. We're just going to dive right into it. We've been waiting, itching to talk about the NFL draft. So we have heroes and zeros. I really hate the overused term of winners and losers from the draft, so I just decided to make it heroes and zeros. Literally no difference. One might be slightly a Marvel Endgame reference with the heroes here. So Austin.
Oh, so great. Such a great movie.
Yes, we both finally watched it. I seen it second time today, and Austin finally saw it today, so I cannot hold it over his head any longer.
Oh, we just talked about it for 30 minutes before we came on this thing.
We did. We're weird. Yeah.
Oh, I mean, it was a great conversation.
We will not spoil anything except everyone dies in the end. So, exactly. Austin, tell me exactly who your heroes are from the draft.
So a lot of mine, and this goes for zeros too, is I picked teams that I didn't think overreached. I picked teams in terms of heroes for teams that got what was the best available guy. They didn't overreach for it. They got what they needed. And for me, this is, for one, the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think they had a great pickup there at 7. We're getting Keenan Allen, a guy who they didn't think was going to be there, fell to them, and I think could really benefit them in the future. And then the two other teams I have, and the Colts are the same way with Jacksonville in that they didn't overreach. They didn't need to make any big moves. They just stayed pretty consistent. They got what they needed. I think they kind of had the mindset, honestly, of saying, look, we're an AFC championship contender here. We don't need to overreach. We don't need to go crazy to try and say we need to get just that much better than the Chiefs and Patriots. We're basically right there anyway. We're just going to get what we need. We're not going to overreach. We're not going to trade away any picks for the future. And I think that's a great decision as a GM standpoint, in my opinion. And then for Miami, and then this is the biggest thing with Josh Rosen. I mean, they got a guy who potentially could be their face of the franchise, a guy that Miami hasn't had at quarterback in Dan Marino. I mean, they haven't had a guy that they can say, this could be our guy. They kind of thought that with Ryan Tannehill, but no one else really did. And Josh Rosen is a guy that literally no one can say, oh, well, he's going to be bad. He's going to be good because we just don't know. And so for them to be able to pick him up for very little, in my opinion, I think was a great move, and that's why I put them on the heroes list.
Yeah, first time we actually did this, I had a lot of intersecting exact same opinions when it comes to the heroes and zeros list. So I've changed a few of mine just for the sake of argument. Number one for me, I have the Buffalo Bills. Call me biased, I do not care.
That's my fourth hero.
Okay, so for me,
so you're not that biased. I think that's a fair statement.
Yeah, the Bills have had a terrific offseason, and the draft was just a perfect way to end it. For number 9, man, is that a guy that can play almost anywhere on that defensive line, gives you speed and strength. A guy that should have no business being there at number 9. Could not believe it. Before the season started, this guy was a surefire number 1 and 2 pick with Nick Bosa. Next thing you know, he falls to number 9 in a city in Buffalo that loves those interior pass rushers. Maybe he'll play on the edge. We don't know what Sean McDermott has for him. And then I love, maybe even more so the Ed Oliver pickup, Cody Ford in the second round. Big, menacing monster at guard from OU. I absolutely love this kid. Traded up to get him. Really by the offensive line. Yeah, he was a perfect pickup for the Buffalo Bills. Both guys are physical and they play in the trenches, which is a huge thing that you want to have when you have this kind of small market. Let's be honest, it's not a big free agent destination. It's not LA. It's not the Rams. So a lot of guys are going to struggle going to Buffalo. They got the 2 guys, John Brown, Cole Beasley. I love their offseason moves and then putting it together with the draft. And that's kind of has a lot to go with what I'm trying to do here with the zeros as well. If you have a bad offseason and then you draft because you don't replace those guys, I don't like that. I think that's why I have one of these zeros on my list. And then also if you have a good offseason, replace these guys or add more to even the deep parts of your team, then I like it. Number 2, I have the Arizona Cardinals. You know I love me some Kyler Murray. I think he was a surefire number 1 pick before he even won the Heisman. I was telling you this when the season, mid-season. I said this kid is going to be the number 1 pick, and if he's not, that team is stupid. Okay, I love Kyler Murray. He's an accurate thrower, has one of the strongest arms in the class, can run around, and yeah, he is small. I don't see it being an issue for him at the next level. But really, though, what I'm impressed is what they did after Kyler Murray. You get a guy in Byron Murphy that had no business being in the second round. That guy was a first-round talent. He's a ball hawk. He's a big corner that can play anywhere on the field. You trade up. You trade your second-round pick, trade up to get Andy Isabella, trading away Josh Rosen, a guy that's going to return punts and kicks off for you. He's going to be a slot guy. That one I'm okay on because you kind of have Christian Kirk there. Maybe they don't believe in him. He kind of does the same sort of things that Isabella does. Zach Allen, guy in the 3rd round, had no business being in the 3rd round. He was a second-round guy, big power rusher from Boston College. Hakeem Butler, 4th rounder, no business being in the 4th round. That's a 3rd round, 2nd round receiver, big guy from Iowa State that is very hard to cover in the red zone. Then you got Deontay Thompson, a guy that people believe this guy should have been a 1st-round pick in the 5th round. Now, I understand that there might be an injury concern. Maybe they just didn't like his tape or off the field concerns.
There's always something like that, isn't there? When a guy drops like that, there's always something that we don't really know, but the teams know.
Right, and that's why they're drafting and we're not, because they know about these going up to their security number. It's insane the vetting they kind of do on these guys. But no matter what, you cannot watch the tape on Deontay Thompson and say that guy's he's a 5th round pick, because he's not. So there must be something that's going over my head right now. But Deontay Thompson was a great pickup. So that's 4 draft picks I love. So I love what the Cardinals did. And then the Cincinnati Bengals give him some love to Butler Community College.
Hey.
Taylor out there drafting what I love, and that's offensive lineman. Jonah Williams going in the 1st round, I think the safest pick of the draft. And that's a guy that's going to be your left or right tackle. They think he might play right. I'm not sure. But for the foreseeable future, this is your guy. And I know that's said a lot about offensive linemen because it's tough to transfer. But
so do you think Andy Dalton is their guy then?
I don't. And they actually drafted a quarterback in this class, so I'll be getting to that. But in the 2nd round, they drafted a tight end, Drew Sample. We all know Tyler Eifert's one of the best in the NFL. But can he play? Can he get on the field is the issue. He has shown his career that is a overwhelming. Yeah, that he absolutely cannot. Then they draft offensive. They get Alex outside linebacker, Vontez Burfict out. You place in Pratt. And then you were just talking about quarterback Ryan Finley, who before this season started was the projected #1 quarterback off the board. They said he was the most pro-ready. He was the most accurate. And they get him in the 4th round. Now, do I know that he's going to beat out Andy Dalton? I doubt it. But if this is a guy that Zach Taylor is a quarterback coach from the Rams, Coach Jared Goff was a quarterback himself at Butler, is he going to be able to vet Ryan Finley enough to be their starting quarterback? I don't know. I just know next the quarterback draft class next year is loaded at the top end. So if it's not the guy this year, they might be looking for one next year. So those are my heroes. Go ahead for your zeros.
All right, for my zeros, I have, again, I think these are the teams that I felt kind of overreached a little bit.
Right.
And obvious one that I know you're going to go on a tangent with, so I'll just hint at it because it's a team that I'm biased towards. They're not one of my favorites, but just in general, I think this was a terrible decision, and I love the New York Giants at number 6. I don't understand. I don't understand the move. Duke quarterback. Why? And I know you're going to go off on it, so I'll let you. But my next zero is Oakland. I feel like at the 4th position they took a guy. I'm blanking on his name, from Clemson.
Farrell.
Yes, Cleveland Farrell from Clemson. A guy who I think maybe would have been sitting up there in the later part of the 1st round, maybe even the early part of the 2nd round. We don't know. But at number 4, I don't know what they saw that other teams maybe saw. As, again, one of the reasons they're drafting and we're not. But to me, he was not the 4th overall pick. He might have been a 1st rounder, but not number 4 overall. I know they're trying to do their best to try and replace. Wow, I'm blanking on names right now. For Chicago. Khalil Mack. I know they're trying to replace him, and Jesus, what a struggle. They're trying to replace him, but I don't know if this is the guy. And then finally, I have on here Houston. They need to protect Josh Watson. They need to protect him badly. He is the face of this franchise. He's your guy. You've got to protect him. He's got to stay healthy because when he's healthy, he can do good things for your team. But you don't have an offensive line. And they drafted a lot of rookie offensive line, but not some of the top guys that we were hearing about. They didn't go and pick up any of those big guys. I thought they could have potentially tried and traded up to get some of those big guys like even like Cody Ford, for example. I mean, why are they passing up on guys like him? They need offensive linemen. They got some, but I don't think they were the best ones available.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of that. Again, I had to change some of my zeros because I had overlapping ones. I'll get to the Giants last.
Yes, save the best for last.
So my third
He's
zero.
our favorite quarterback by far. I mean, we love the guy.
Daniel Jones, beloved on this show. Absolutely. If he was here, we would put him on our shoulders and just scream to the high heavens how much we love Daniel Jones.
Oh, absolutely.
But actually, you know what? I'll get to actually how I feel bad for the kid now. Kind of the same thing what I did with Mitch Trubisky as well. But I'll go with my third zero, and I have the Saints. Again, I'm also adding offseason needs.
Okay.
With the draft. They only had about 4 or 5 picks. That's not good no matter what you're doing because this is a team that their window is right now. Their quarterback is very old, obviously, and maybe Teddy Bridgewater is a successor. Maybe not. We don't know. I think they really reached on Eric McCoy, Texas A&M center, and that was their biggest need because Max Unger did just retire this season. But I just don't see that kid being a reliable starter that says you can be my day one starting center under Drew Brees. I just think that's too much of a learning curve, and especially in that sort of offense. Because the center is the only guy who touches the ball every single play. Even the quarterback doesn't sometimes. So the center position is very valuable. I just don't see them with Eric McCoy. And number 2, this is the epitome of offseason moves as well as the draft. The Baltimore Ravens. Now, a lot of people tell me they love what the Ravens did. I don't. So I'm looking at Marquise Brown as a great value pick in the first round at number 25. I love it. Speed guy. I just don't see him having a whole lot of success with Lamar Jackson at quarterback. And another problem that I had in the 4th round, they picked Justice Hill. They already have a loaded backfield as is. That's already crowded. So now he's going to be their 4th running back, a guy that I think would have been a prized possession for anyone beyond the 3rd round. I think he went to the wrong team. And they get Jalen Ferguson. They get some speed. They get Ferguson. They get Boykin, Justice Hill, Ben Powers from Oklahoma. I liked him a lot, also from Butler. But the thing is, they came into this draft with the premise that our defense is dominant. But Austin, they lost their best players on defense. They lost C.J. Mosley. They lost Darius Smith. They lost Eric Weddle and Terrell Suggs. They didn't draft any defense. They didn't replace any of those guys except for Jalen Ferguson. That's one position. C.J. Mosley, one of the most valued positions at middle linebacker, the captain of your defense. Who's filling that? Who is filling Eric Weddle, this veteran safety in the back? They got Earl Thomas. Okay, I'll give you that. Earl Thomas and Tony Jefferson is going to be great. The fact is, the pass rush is going to be diminished. The linebacking crew is beyond diminished, and they didn't replace any of it.
The linebacking crew is basically gone.
It's basically gone. You're absolutely right. Judon is pretty much the only guy that's left that rushes the pass. You have and Brandon Williams up front. But, man, I just think that they came into this draft just with the mindset that, oh, we're the Baltimore Ravens. Our defense is already nasty. No, your nastiness walked out the door. You don't have that nasty anymore. So all of a sudden, you're going for this wide receiver that maybe, or he's obviously going to help Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson's going to help it happening. So I don't like what the Baltimore Ravens did at all. Now, Giants. Austin, and I did this on the last show, and I think it's worth doing once again. Could you hand me an L? Just to me. Just hand me an L. I'll take that, put it in my pocket. I deserve it. I put my faith in Dave Gettleman. You know what? I've never been proven wrong more in my entire life than this guy. I'm gonna start off calm and I'll build my way there. So you're sitting there at number 6. Okay. You have just about everybody on the board. The board couldn't have played out any better to get a pass rush. Josh Allen, Ed Oliver, both of those there. Both of them would have gone in that number 6 pick if any other team was sitting there, except for the New York Giants. They take Daniel Jones. Okay, you know what? I don't like the guy. I don't think he's going to be that great. But okay, you take your guy. But Dave Gettleman goes ahead and says that the reason he took him at number 6 as a 17 is because he says he knew for a fact that there were 2 teams taking Daniel Jones before 17. First of all, no. Second of all, just sell the pick to us. Do not tell me that the reason you took him there was because you think he would have been gone if you waited.
Back it up. Back up why you took the guy.
Market him. Say, this is our guy. This is the guy that we wanted the entire time we were evaluating everybody. Do not say that you took him because of value. That's what we say, not you. We talk about value, about because you like the player. You took him because of the analytics, because of the number game, that maybe
he's going to lead your team for the next 10 years.
Yes. This is the quarterback. This is not a safety that you drafted high and you have to explain yourself when it comes to value. Just back the pick up. And they didn't do that whatsoever. And then he goes and gets Dexter Lawrence. You know what? I'll give him credit. Best pick of the draft for them. That's not a very high bar, though. Dexter Lawrence was a good pick. Maybe he was on steroids in college. We don't know because he said he didn't know he was in his system. I tend to believe him because the guy's a big guy already, let alone having the steroids. But they reached for him, though. That's the problem, is they reached for him number 17. And then they went and traded into the first round and got DeAndre Baker. Good pick. I like the pick. You didn't have to trade into the first round. There were better cornerbacks on the board. DeAndre Baker, it was the worst kept secret that he was out of the first round because of bad interviews. And you trade back in the first round, give him more assets that you just traded away Odell Beckham and Olivier Vernon to get, and you're back in the first round taking DeAndre Baker that was slipping into the second round. Good Lord. I mean, what? Why did I put any faith in this guy? Why did I do that?
You're not the only one. You're not the only one. There's so many Giants that believed in him, and so you're not the only one.
And you know what? Once again, I want to reiterate, I feel bad for Daniel Jones because this guy's getting a lot of hate. He can't help that he got taken number 6 overall. It was not his fault. Now, I don't believe in the kid, but also at the same time, he does not deserve this unnecessary hate that he is being given. That's 100%. Just like Mitchell Trubisky gets all the flack in the world.
Just like Mitchell Trubisky, honestly.
He was taken, because he was taken ahead of Patrick Mahomes and Deshaun Watson, and of course he's not as good as them, but he's still a very good quarterback. But people hate on him all the time for it, and it's unnecessary and it's unwarranted. I don't like that, but I don't like Dave Gettleman either right now.
I think the biggest thing, your biggest point that makes so much sense, back it up. Say, I like this guy better than everyone else in the draft. That's why I got him at number 6. Because I thought he was the best player in the draft, and not because, oh, well, I wanted to get him before the other teams did. Yeah. Well, don't say that. Say that this is the guy that we wanted from day one at this spot, and that's why we got him there. And everyone will be like, okay, you're dumb, but, I mean, that's how you think, so okay. Like, there's no, like, we can't really argue. But for you to say, oh, well, other teams want it, then we're like, well, did you really want him that bad at 6 then? Or are you – I don't understand.
We need you – I want him to sell us on his evaluation of Daniel Jones, not his anticipation of the picks behind him, because those can always be smoke screens. He does not know for a fact, because nobody knows anything for a fact in the NFL draft. That's why these mock draft guys still have jobs. It's impossible. You never know what teams are thinking. No one ever does. And he just takes this guy number 6 and says that he took him because he'd be gone at 17. I'm not buying it. First of all, I don't think he would have slipped there. And once again, sell the pick. Tell me this is his next Eli Manning, that he thinks he can win us a Super Bowl.
Exactly. That's what I would want to hear from my GM on my next draft pick.
If Brett Veach came out for the Kansas City Chiefs and says, oh, we drafted Mecole Hardman because we needed to replace Tyreek Hill, I'd be questioning him. I would be saying, what? You just need more guys in here. Not because you need to replace somebody. You need more guys in here, as opposed to I'm taking them because of value and because of what we need right now. No, I don't like that. I don't like that at all. That's not what GMs need to be saying. That's what we need to be saying.
Yeah, for Brett Veach, you say, I got Mecole Hardman because I think he can help us win the Super Bowl. I think he can help us beat Tom Brady.
And that's what he says. That's what they say, because that's what good GMs say. They say that. They say, I have this player from day one. This is the guy that we loved in interviews, on the field, on tape. This is the guy that we want a part of our franchise. Not, well, he was taken there because if he was at 27, maybe he would have been gone. No, sell it to us. Sell it. All right. Moving on. We're going to still talking about the draft, the 3 best value picks, and also the 3 best fits. And I'll go ahead and real quick. That took up a lot of time for the Giants. For value, I had Ed Oliver at number 9 going to the Bills. A.J. Brown in the 2nd round, 19th pick at the Tennessee Titans. I have no clue why he fell that much. I think this guy's the best receiver in the draft. You can put him literally anywhere on the field, and that is something that it's divine to have. You absolutely love it. Only problem is he went to Marcus Mariota. Number 3, I have David Montgomery in the 3rd round, 9th overall pick in the 3rd round. I think this was the second best running back behind Josh Jacobs in the class. This is a guy that makes people miss. And with Jordan Howard being out, you didn't have to pay him a whole lot. Bring in a younger guy, fresher guy that maybe complements Tariq Cohen a little better. I love that pick for the Bears, especially being their first pick of the draft, I think.
Yeah. So a guy that we've already talked about from Oklahoma in terms of value, Cody Ford to the Bills, a tremendous pick. I mean, this is a guy who at Oklahoma blocked for one of the better quarterbacks in the entire nation, clearly, in Kyler Murray.
In the nation. That line was nasty.
Exactly. And what's so impressive about guys who block for quarterbacks like that, who can kind of make plays on their own, kind of like Patrick Mahomes, who can kind of run around and create stuff, that's a really hard thing for an offensive lineman, because you are going in up to the line of scrimmage with a play in mind, and then when it's changed on a dime, you have to adjust on the fly. And what do offensive linemen tend to do when a quarterback is running around, I'm going to grab their jersey and hold on to him so he doesn't go after my quarterback.
Yeah.
This is a guy in Cody Ford who was so fast and so strong that he would just move to the side, say, you're not going this way, move to the other side, you're not going this way, rather than grabbing a hold of guys. So smart in that way, knowing who he was blocking for, knowing his ability, knowing his opponent's ability, and saying, I'm not going to get a penalty and cost my team 10 yards, when knowing that Kyler Murray could get us 40. I'm not going to cost us 10. I like that a lot about offensive linemen who are able to adjust on the fly like that. And so another guy, offensive lineman, in Jawan Taylor, he fell. He fell a lot farther than I thought he was going to. And I think this is a guy who I thought was going to be top 10. And so I thought that was a steal at where he was. From Florida, another beast down there in the SEC. And then my next value pick, I actually have Pittsburgh trading up to number 10 and taking Devin Bush. This is a guy from Michigan playing in the Big Ten Conference, which is very defensive-oriented, and Michigan especially being one of those defensive talented teams. He was really, really good in the Big Ten. And I had a sports talk show at Northwest Missouri State where we talked about the Big Ten and the Big 12 specifically during the football season. And this was a guy that was mentioned quite a bit for this Michigan defense. And I think Pittsburgh, I think this could be a good value pick for Pittsburgh to trade up and get him. This is a guy they liked. They said, we want him where he's at. Let's go get him.
Yeah. Do you actually remember a couple of years ago before the Michigan State game, a Michigan player went to the middle of the field and with his cleats kind of tore the logo out of the middle of the field a little bit? Do you remember that?
I think so. I remember when Baker Mayfield stuck the flag in, but I don't remember.
It was a couple years back. I think it might have been one or went to the middle of the field in Michigan State, in Lansing, and to the middle of the field, took his cleat and just stomped out the logo in the middle of the field. They had to replace it with spray paint and everything, and they got a flag, I believe, before the game even started. But so I kind of like that, though. For me, for fits, we're going to move on to the 3 best fits that we have. For mine, this was, there's no debate for this, I don't think, the best fit in the draft. Garrett Bradbury, NC State center, to the Minnesota Vikings. Good Lord, have they needed one of these for a long time now. I mean, Minnesota was dying to get offensive linemen for Kirk Cousins. They got the one position that they need. I think the most underrated position in terms of value in the NFL. I love the pick. They got him at the exact right value. So I love Garrett Bradbury to Minnesota.
So you think he'll play right away?
Absolutely. Yes. Not only will he play right away, I predict a All-Pro or Pro Bowl season for this guy year 1.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm telling you, I love offensive linemen. That's why I have 3 of them for best fits. Number 2, I have Andre Dillard to Philadelphia. 1, because they traded up right in front of Houston, who was going to take.
That's the biggest factor. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they traded right in front of him. Jason Peters, this is most likely his last year, and if not, it's getting very, very close. I think he's 35, 36 now. One of the best to ever do it. I know you hate the Eagles, but you have to admit it. Jason Peters is one of the best to ever play the game. So you have Andre Dillard replacing him maybe in a year or 2. Perfect. Andre Dillard is the most athletic tackle in this class. Some say he was the best, so I love Philly getting him. And then once again, Jonah Williams of Cincinnati. I just think this is perfectly setting up Taylor to get a quarterback next year. First year, draft a left tackle. That's going to protect your quarterback for the next 10 years. I feel like it's a perfect 1-2 step. Protect your quarterback, get your quarterback, because Andy Dalton's a guy that can hold you over. No problem. He's a good to above average quarterback.
That's another thing that I forgot to mention with the Giants in drafting Daniel Jones there, is that with Daniel Jones, he's probably going to be sitting for this whole year behind Eli Manning, most likely.
Yeah.
Because they like Eli Manning so much in New York. He won 2 Super Bowls. Deserving. But now you've hurt yourself for next year's draft because you're going to more than likely have a top 10 pick. But you're not going to be able to draft a quarterback because you already think that you have your guy. And you haven't seen him yet, so you don't know if he's good or bad. And so you haven't seen him in a game-type situation, so you don't know if you should go and get one of these better guys like Justin Herbert from Oregon, for example, immediately pops into my mind, or Tua Tagovailoa from Alabama. I mean, there's 2 guys right there that you're like, geez, those guys are going to be beasts from what we can all assume. but we don't need him because we already think that we have our guy, even though you don't know if he's going to be paying out that well. That's
Right.
another thing that could really hurt the Giants, I think.
And then another scenario with just a spin off of that. Excuse me, once again, they play Daniel Jones year one. Let's say they do, just for the sake of argument. They play him the entire year in his rookie year. He does not play well. Still not able to draft a quarterback. Because then you are admitting that you made a mistake with Daniel Jones and that right away your evaluation was not worthy taking him number 6. What makes you think that the fans are going to support anyone you take the next year? Because your evaluation was already off and you're only 12 months removed from drafting
because
the guy.
you were wrong last year. So now, yeah, exactly. You were wrong last year, so now your fans are going to say, "Oh, well, you don't know what you're doing."
Right. Well, and then also, let's go with your scenario. They sit him for a year. He plays, and he plays his second year for the Giants. He doesn't play well. Okay, so you're done that year with the quarterback, so let's get rid of that. But then, second year of his actual playing career, that's a Trevor Lawrence year. So then are you telling me that you're not going to take Trevor Lawrence because you think you have Daniel Jones? Or are you going to admit you made a mistake with Daniel Jones and take Trevor Lawrence? It's just, this is the worst time to take a quarterback.
It's a bad circle.
It's the circle of life for the Giants. You took in a draft class, last year's quarterback class. This year was a defensive end class. They took a running back last year. I still love that pick. Did not take a quarterback. Didn't try to trade to take up a quarterback. And they take a quarterback in a defensive end class. I'm just looking around. I don't know what to do. I don't know what there is. Okay, we'll move on. We'll move on from the Giants because I'm tired of them. I'm tired of talking about it. Have you done your fits?
Oh, I have not.
Yeah.
So I had on here Josh Rosen, most simply because I think Miami obviously needed a quarterback, and they got him for very little. So I think, if anything, I don't think it could be a terrible move on their part because either way, you didn't give up that much for him, and if he doesn't pan out, then that's fine. You can go.
No lose.
Exactly. It's a no-lose situation with Josh Rosen. Mecole Hardman for the Chiefs. It's not looking good for Tyreek Hill, as we mentioned in the last show. And
actually, let me address that real quick. There has been this text conversation. I don't know if it's true. I might have spoken too early, and if I do, I will apologize because I gave him the business last time. So we'll let that play out. But I don't think it's true. But we'll let that play out.
Now no one's really going to know the right answer because it's just going to be a bunch of he said, she said. And I'm not going to know the answer until the judge says what's happened.
It'll never be a clean situation.
No, it won't. So that's a guy. Runs a 4.340. Was a monster in the SEC at Georgia with Jake Fromm at the helm. He could. I mean, he's a guy. He's just a weapon for Patrick Mahomes' use potentially. And if he runs little 3-yard slants, I mean, that's what Patrick Mahomes loves. So it could be great. And then there's another guy going off of that. And Marquise Brown in the same kind of way. I mean, you can run him in little wide receiver screens that he could break off for 60 yards. I've seen him do it. I've seen him do it against K-State at Oklahoma so many times you can't even believe it. I mean, Gus Johnson, Hollywood Brown, he yelled it so many times because he would break off so many highlight plays. So, I mean, this is a guy who and I know you brought this up in the last show, so if you want to say it again, that's fine. In the fact that what's really going to happen with the running back situation and Lamar Jackson and Marquise Brown, how they play out together. But just in terms of this is a weapon, the Ravens needed a weapon and they got one. So that's why I have Marquise Brown right there.
Okay, well, let me ask you a question going off of that. Do you think Marquise Brown is going to get frustrated when kind of the same thing that happened with Odell last year? When, okay, they like to have those slants and try to get the opportunity to take it to the house yards after the catch. But do you think he's going to get frustrated not getting the ball 30, 40 yards down the field like he is accustomed to getting with Kyler Murray and Baker Mayfield?
I don't know if he'll get necessarily frustrated.
He's a speedster, and he is the definition of a deep threat. And I just don't see being satisfied playing in the slot, trying to get these slants, trying to get these hook routes. Maybe a guy misses a tackle, and he's able to take it to the house. I see this guy saying, I need the ball down the field to be effective. I just don't. I mean, I just don't like the pick for him. But I mean, obviously, I mean, when it comes to fits, they needed a wide receiver and they got one. So that's for your list. He fits in perfectly.
Yeah, and I wasn't really high on DK Metcalf. I mean, he's a big weapon, but I like Marquise Brown a little bit more just in terms of route running and I don't know, football IQ. If that's really a phrase.
Outside of 40 and height, pretty much everything else goes with Marquise Brown.
Yeah, I would agree.
I mean, he's just a spectacular player.
I would agree.
Yeah. Okay, moving on. We finally got our draft out of the way with off our chest.
Well done.
Fine. Now we can actually, next show, we're going to talk about the Vegas sports odds have out for the wins and loss totals for the NFL season. We will talk about that next show. So
like
we're
breaking down the schedule and stuff.
We're like they have the win predictions for teams. So like the Chiefs have like 11 wins, over under, that sort of stuff. Perfect. So tune in Thursday for that. But we're moving on to the NBA, and I've been loving what I've been seeing the past few nights. All of the teams that have been doubted in all of these series, the small market teams that people say, oh, no one wants to play there, they suck, they don't have any superstars, are winning or tying their series. You have Milwaukee. They are up 2-1, I believe, on Boston right now. Denver tied it up last night with Nikola Jokic, who's my favorite superstar in the NBA right now. He's so funny. And then Toronto, they are now up 2-1, I believe, on the 76 or no, it's 2-2, isn't it?
2-2. Yep.
2-2. They're tied 2-2 with the 76ers. And
you could even say Portland being one of those small market teams.
Yeah, you could be, but I'm talking about the teams that people said they are dead in the water. They're not going anywhere in the playoffs. So far, it's been those three because they say that these guys aren't proven or they don't have that one superstar that's going to propel them to a championship or something like that. Just the people, the teams that people have just discounted already. And I hate when people do that. They're in the playoffs for a reason. Milwaukee's a 1 seed. Denver's a 2 seed. Toronto's a 2 seed for a reason. Okay, there's no fluke about this stuff. But the question is, though, there's been a lot of great performances. What player in this playoff has impressed you the most?
For me, oh boy, that's tough because there's been some guys who have kind of come out lately. But for me, I've been high on him all season long. I got to go with the Greek Freak. I mean, he had that one. Really, I think he's only had one bad game this entire playoffs. And that was game 1 of this series against Boston.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was the only bad game that he really had where he really couldn't shoot. But then he's like, all right, I'm going to go back to my ways where I'm going to take 3 steps from half court and dunk it. You're not going to stop it because you can't stop it. Yeah. And no one for the Celtics can stop him right now. I mean, they won the last 2, one in TD Garden, which is a hard place to play. And he's just looked so unstoppable the whole playoffs. I mean, dominating Detroit the way that he did was just so eye-opening to a lot of NBA playoff teams to say, oh, because you're exactly right. No one thought Milwaukee was going to be able to be playing the way that they are.
Yeah.
And what they showed against Detroit was like, oh my gosh, they wasn't even close. And then these last games against Boston, everyone except for Paul Pierce is like, oh, well, this series is over. So, because Paul Pierce after game 1 was like, oh, Giannis had a bad game. Oh, Celtics won. Series is over. As we hinted on last show. But clearly Giannis is like, no, I'm the best player in this Eastern Conference. I'm proving it right now over Kyrie Irving. And I think he's looked the most dominant that no one really expected from his team, let alone him.
Yeah, I've been high on him all year as well. I think I've now officially crowned him as the best player in the NBA, with the exception of LeBron James, easily inserted number 1 once I see him back on the court. But for me, if we're going off of stats in actual performances, what performance has impressed me the most, there has not been a better player in the playoffs than Kawhi Leonard for the Toronto Raptors. He has been money. He was clutch against the 76ers I think last night or 2 nights ago, hitting that clutch 3 in crunch time. But if I'm going with what player impressed me the most, as opposed to my expectation and how they're playing, it might be Jamal Murray or Nikola Jokic for the Denver Nuggets. They are both playing out of their minds. It is
Who's insane. That other guy for Denver that's been tearing it up? I'll look at it here real quick while you're talking.
Well, I got Nikola Jokic. The difference between him and Russell Westbrook is they both get triple doubles, but one actually wins their games in the playoff when he gets them. Jokic wins his game, got a triple double last night. He's a monster. He's clutch. He's the best passer out of the post I've seen since Tim Duncan. And then Jamal Murray, the point guard, shooting guard, and made point guard. The guy's making plays. He's making highlight reel plays as getting his team energized. So those two have really impressed me this time. But if I'm going off of performance based, I gotta go with Kawhi Leonard. I don't think it's really much of a debate when it comes to his stats.
That's what I was thinking of. Will Barton for Denver. He's been playing well.
I was gonna say there's a few. Paul Millsap has been playing well. Paulie Millsap, I love him. His defense.
Yeah, he's been playing well.
I wish he was still in Atlanta. I've been a big fan of his since he started. And it's been a long career for him now, and I think he's finally able to get some success in the postseason. So I love to see that. But Denver and Portland, best series. I mean, it is. Get some popcorn. Oh man, I love it. And also the reason I love Denver so much. So they won last night's game, but they just came off a 4 overtime loss, and they came back and they won. That's huge.
Really tough.
That is very tough because you are deflated after a 4 overtime loss. Say I just played however many extra minutes with nothing to show for it, and they came back and they beat Portland. I love it. I think that might win them the series because, I mean, what gets worse than that? Nothing.
Yeah, that was a huge game because you're exactly right. After losing in 4 overtimes, you don't even want to get up the next day.
Seriously.
And, I mean, you go out on that same court and you're like, oh, here we go again after that. And that was a game really that they could have won that game, I mean, just very easily as Portland. I mean, that game, when it goes into 4 overtimes, you're like, oh, well, any team can win this game. And they're like, especially when you have it say, oh, we could have won that game, but we didn't. So now we have to go and try to win this game. That's a huge statement.
And then, like you said, on top of that, the physical exhaustion that you just have waking up. You don't want to get up the next day. So you're right about that. Next for the NBA, moving on, a rumor that I saw just this morning, I was delighted to see this on my phone. The Warriors are preparing for a, quote, seismic change within the franchise in the offseason, with Klay Thompson and Kevin Durant both becoming free agents. So, Austin, if both of these guys leave, hypothetically, where are the Warriors when it comes to the Western Conference with Steph and Draymond?
I think a lot of it depends on where those two guys go. I mean, if Klay ends up in a place like the Clippers, for example, or, somewhere like that, oh, man, if it's just Steph and Draymond, that'd be tough. I don't see how the Warriors could make it out of the West. I don't know how they'd be able to be a team like Houston, teams like that. But what that headline truly tells me is that they think KD's gone, and they don't know how they're going to save him. I mean, I listened and I watched the video of Woj talking about it because he was the one that came out and said that. And he was like, it sounds like that they're expecting KD to be gone, and they're trying to figure out how they can keep Klay. They got to be able to keep one of the two, or else, I mean, what are they going to be able to do? Because those guys obviously because right now, the way that Steph has been playing in these playoffs, they could not win a ring with just him. He's not playing that good. It's all KD right now. KD put up 46, and they lost to Houston because Steph and Klay took it away from KD, got cold, and then KD got cold because he wasn't getting the ball. And then they lost to Houston. So without KD there and without Klay there, Steph can't get him to the finals, I don't think. Maybe not even the Western Conference Finals, honestly.
I'll do you one better. With the Steph and Draymond team, this is not a playoff team. This is not a team that I believe can make the playoffs. Because, one, what makes you think that Steph's going to play all 82 games?
That's very true.
Because when
he really hasn't.
When he's out, okay, you have 3 superstars. Okay, who cares?
Exactly. It's not that big of a loss.
Steph's out. Next thing you know, Sean Livingston's your second best player. Oh, okay. Well, that's probably a bit of a problem. That's a bit of a problem. Draymond Green's your best player. Okay. I don't think if Steph and Draymond Green can in the East. I probably would say yes. Even if KD leaves, just KD, and they keep Clay, they still are getting jumped by one or two teams in that Western Conference. Because you know for a fact, if this Houston team was playing just the Splash Brothers and Draymond Green, they would be up 2-1 as opposed to down 2.
Yeah, KD is 100% the difference maker when it comes to the postseason.
Right. So
100%.
And I've also been much higher on Klay Thompson than I think other people have. I think this is a guy that has been trapped in the Warriors. I'll use the word trapped very carefully because obviously no one's trapped in the Warriors. His talents have not been recognized, I think, as much as they should be. I think this guy's
because he's the third option.
Because he's the third option. I think this is the best second option you could have in the NBA, even more so than Paul George. I don't care what anyone says about that. He plays spectacular defense. He's one of the best on-ball defenders in the NBA. Probably the second best shooter in the NBA. The other one's playing point guard right behind him.
He forced overtime. Klay forced overtime in Game 4 because he tied up Chris Paul at the end. Chris Paul scores on probably anyone else in the NBA in that situation.
Right. He's a monster defender, and he shoots the ball as good as anyone. So I love Klay Thompson. But if both these guys leave, it's over for the Warriors. The reign's over. Steph Curry might be gone. They might try to trade him, try and rebuild, because I know for a fact that Draymond and Steph Curry team, unless they get some other free agents, is not going to lead them. Because at what point, if Klay and KD are both gone, all of a sudden that's just San Francisco. But you have LA over here because KD and Klay might be there, or you have New York with the Knicks. Maybe go try and restart that, or you have Brooklyn, New York. You can go anywhere that's actually maybe Miami. Once those two guys leave, Golden State's all of a sudden just Golden State. It's not like this team that is a desired free agent destination. Only reason those guys are going there because those players are there. Don't tell me they're going there because they want to live in San Francisco. And so
don't tell me Boogie went there to. I love the fan base and no, exactly. He 100% wanted to play with Steph and KD.
Yeah. Hey. So I'm not a religious man, but we pray to the Lord that this happens. That both of these players leave this forsaken team.
Make the NBA watchable.
Make the NBA watchable. I wish people would stop shooting so many freaking threes. That would be another big thing. But just do this for us. Thank you. I don't ask for much. Okay, moving on. Our second half of the show. I've been loving this show so much so far. Over, under, or push. And we got some pretty good ones for you today, Austin. Over, under, or push. The Denver Nuggets, Western Conference Finals. Now, keep in mind that only means winning 2 games to get there. Over, under, or push.
I'll say under. Ooh,
so you think Portland wins the series?
I think Portland wins it. Yep, I do. I think Damian Lillard's just one upset about that last loss, and he's just really. I think he's just had an edge since Game 1 this playoffs. I saw him against OKC. I think he's just a different beast right now.
I kind of think the same way though. Right now, I love the Trailblazers. I just wish they weren't playing the Nuggets. I love Jokic. The biggest one that really, I basically decided this once they won that last game because of the 4 overtimes. They came back and they won off an exhausting performance.
How healthy is Jokic going to be, though? Because it looked like he kind of tweaked his knee last night.
Well, we're hoping he's fine. He says he's all good to go for the next game, but he still put up a triple-double. So I'm not really concerned about that too much. So I'm going to go with push. I don't think they get past the Western Conference Finals. But I certainly think that they do win this series. Also because they do have a chip on their shoulder right now. Because Portland is kind of coming in as the favorite team because of what they did in Oklahoma City. Because they shut them up. So all of a sudden now people are expecting them to say, okay, you need to beat the crap out of this team. And Denver's pushing back. So I like what Denver's been doing. I expect them to get to the Western Conference Finals. Maybe probably 7-game series either way. So, okay, number 2. And this is one that I predicted before the season started. I want that on tape. I want that on paper. I said this. The Minnesota Twins go to the ALCS this year. Now, they are dominating the AL Central so far. They are by far and away the best team. ALCS, Austin. Which, in case people don't know at home, that is basically like the Western and Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah. Oh, man, that's really tough because I think the AL is really loaded. So I will say that they continue to run away with the Central and make the playoffs, but I can't see them getting past like a Houston or New York or Tampa Bay team. I don't think they could get past those. But they are going to run away with the Central, I think, as they are doing currently.
I will put them in the ALCS. I'm really liking what I'm seeing from this team.
What about World Series?
No. I still have the Astros in the World Series.
Okay.
Astros and Milwaukee are still my bets for the World Series. But this is the team that I expected. You remember how I've been talking about these guys for a couple years. This is the team that I expected last year that was injury plagued, and they basically had a scrap year last year. So now Jose Berrios gets another year under his belt. He is now an ace. That AL Cy Young for that is looking damn good right now. He is the best pitcher in the AL right now.
Did you pick him for the Cy Young?
Yes, I did. I picked him for the AL Cy Young, and you told me I was kind of crazy for it. That's okay. We'll move on. I'm a guy who lets things go. I'll just let it go in the air.
Right.
I mean, he might as well give him the Cy Young already. Season's over. So
Exactly.
ALCS, their bats are coming around. They're playing great defense like I had expected them to last year. And again, once again, Jose Berrios is the guy that I love. Day one, give me a wild card game. You go out there and you win me a game. That is Jose Berrios. I love this team. So ALCS, but not the World Series. I see Houston ALCS along with the Twins. The Yankees I still love because they're not going to be this injured the entire season. So their guys are going to come back. But Severino has got to be healthy for me to really have that much confidence in him because he's not going to be until after the All-Star break, which is that hurts. And by the time, if he's in full form, by the time the playoffs start, we'll talk about it again, and maybe I change my tone.
Yeah.
Okay, number 3, talking about the best hitter in baseball of all time, Hunter Dozier.
God.
An all-star appearance this season. Now, in case you guys don't know who Hunter Dozier is, I had to bring in some Royals here. The third and first baseman for the Kansas City Royals. He is the MLB leader in batting average. It's absolutely unbelievable. He is the AL leader. 343 he's hitting in the AL, and he's leading by a good amount in the AL. So, yes, I'm gonna go with.
He's an all-star, I think.
I also think that he's going to make the All-Star team because who else is going to on Kansas City? Now, I hate to say it like that, but that's kind of the truth. Now, he's going
Alex Gordon, I think, could be the only other option.
That is true. Alex Gordon's having a career year right now. But Hunter Dozier, he's kind of a monster. And he's playing
which is so great for the Royals. It's like the one thing looking at this team, you're like, man, there's 3 guys here who are going to be pretty beasts down the road. Hunter Dozier, Alberto Mondesi, and Whit Merrifield. You're like, ooh, these guys are really fun to watch. That's why I watch Royals games. I watch because I watch every game, and I'm like, oh, they're going to lose. But I watch because, oh, man, these guys are up to bat. Let's watch them hit another home run. Because they're so good, and they play such good defense, too.
Yeah, so I think as of right now, he's obviously the surefire pick for the All-Star team. And maybe Mondesi and maybe Gordon make it. But right now, Hunter Dozier, I kind of just wanted to talk about Hunter Dozier because I wanted to, not because it's actually an important topic. I had to talk about the Royals. I'm very excited for him. I haven't been watching as many games as I did last year. I've been watching more Braves games. It's almost kind of just disappointing as this year right now. They're only 2 games above 500, which I know sounds like a lot, but it's a different feeling. Kind of the years after the World Series where you're kind of just like, okay, I'll deal with this for a little bit, but where's the team that we were looking for last year?
Yeah.
Kind of the same feeling around Atlanta right now. We're kind of looking around at each other. Where were these guys last year? Why are we not performing as well this year? So it's kind of the same feeling. But I hope the Royals win another World Series here in about a year because I know they will.
Right.
Okay, moving on. Woo! Fact or fiction. Now, Austin, you did not have a good week last week. 0 for 3. Now, if it were up to me, you would go for 3 again, but I know that's not going to happen. You are known for that. I'm expecting a full 3 today.
See, I think
Yeah.
the problem was last week is that I took a final at 7:30 in the morning.
Right.
One of the hardest classes I've ever taken in my entire life, being wrapped up. So my head wasn't in it. But today,
Right.
school's over. I'm on summer vacation. This is my sole focus right now.
Yeah.
So I'm locked in.
That's good. We need you here. We need you here. Okay. Number 1. You ready?
Let's go.
The United States Navy SEALs implemented a program in which they took part in hand-to-hand combat with a baby gorilla, or that the hair structure changes entirely throughout the first year of a baby's life.
This is tough. This is tough
This is tough.
because I feel like the second one is true, but like your dad's like a military guy, so I feel like this is potentially something like he told you. That's tough.
I'm going to need an answer.
I'm gonna say the second one's true.
Good job. You got it.
All right.
Yes, sir.
All right.
You needed that. You needed that. Yep.
I
The
needed it.
hair
Oh,
structure
man.
changes entirely through her first year of a baby's life. Good job. Good job. And you know what? I was actually happy for it. If you would have gone 0 for 3 again, I'll be honest, I probably would have made it really easy the next time. Because back-to-back winless is just not what I want. I mean, I say that I want it, but I mean, I'm a human. I like to see people succeed. Okay, so number 2. Albert Einstein's pet tortoise did not die until 2006, or that blood banks in Sweden notify the donor when the blood is used.
That's just. I'm gonna say the tortoise one is real. In 2006.
Gotcha. No, it is not.
What, did it die in like 2005 or something?
No. I did alter the fact. It was Charles Darwin's tortoise that died in 2006.
See, why do you do that? Why do you change it up just enough? Oh my gosh.
You know what? Because that's why I'm good at this. Charles Darwin subbed out for Albert Einstein. Even more believable. Okay, now this is the series, man. This is it. This is the third one. You're 1 for 1. You need to win this one.
I gotta have it.
Number 3, roosters have built-in earplugs, or that grizzly bears can run up to 25 miles per hour.
See, I feel like this is another one where you could like just change it enough to where it's like 20 miles an hour, or a different animal running 25 miles an hour. Let's go with the roosters.
You are correct.
All right.
And you know what? You stiffed me out perfectly, because that's exactly what I did. Grizzly bears can't run 25 miles per hour. They can run 35 miles per hour.
Are you serious?
Yes. You know what? Next week next show we're gonna have top 5s. Our top 5 is going to be top 5 animals, land animals that you would take in a fight. And the grizzly bear is certainly on my list.
That you would take in a fight?
That you would take in a fight. That you say, I have this animal, and he's going to mess up anybody else that comes by.
Okay.
I'm very excited for it because me and my dad, we took a road trip up to Helen, Georgia, kind of like this cool town that we went to. And on the way there, I said, "Is there anything in this world that could kill a grizzly?" Answer is probably no. Let me drop some knowledge on you here. Full-grown male grizzly bears can get up to 850 pounds. Okay? They can climb trees. They can run 35 miles per hour. And they have like 5 machetes on their paws. Oh, and they bite you. I forgot about that part. They bite you.
Right.
And, they're 900 freaking pounds.
And then when they stand up, they're like 6 feet taller than you, too.
And they have an incredible scent that they can sniff out food from miles away. Yeah, no problem. And they can sit up in trees. Yeah.
Good luck.
When God intended
to make grizzly bears,
no, we're not. We're not at all. When God made grizzly bears, he did it with some nasty intentions. He said, I'm going to make a killing machine.
This seems unfair to nature.
Yeah, so it's going to be my number 1. I love grizzly bears. I don't know if you actually know that about me. I love grizzly bears, something I always have. Not just even before Butler, but yes, because of the Grizzlies. Okay. Lastly, unfortunately, we got to end the show. Furious favors. I'm going to give Austin 3 topics. He's going to take whoever with the spread. Number one, we're going to go with the Braves tonight. They're facing off against the Dodgers. Kevin Gausman going for the Braves and Walker Buehler going for the Dodgers. Dodgers are favored minus 147, and the Braves are 1 plus 35.
I'll just take the favorite because I'll be honest, I don't know much about how either team is playing. So I'll take the favorite in the Dodgers.
Okay, I'll go with the Braves. Very much biased. I don't care. The 137 is a pretty big part of it. They are the underdogs, so you're gonna have a chance to win more with that. Plus, Gausman has had a pretty rough stretch lately. I think this is finally the team that he can come out against. This is a pretty much a revenge tour for us against the Dodgers. Need to play this team because they knocked us out of the playoffs last year. Gausman did not pitch well in that series. He needs to pitch well against them right now because he's been struggling lately. So I'm going to take the Braves. Okay, number 2, we have the Bucks versus the Celtics. Celtics are favored by 1.5 points.
I'll take the Bucks. I think they've just been playing really well, except for that one game at the start of this series. And Boston has had no answer since. So I think, I'll take the Bucks.
Yeah, I'll take the Bucks as well. It's become obvious to me. I don't think the Celtics like playing with each other, and I think it's finally
That's
started.
always been a question all season long. Yeah.
I don't think Kyrie Irving's a leader. You can say whatever you want. I just don't think the guy can lead a team. If the Celtics advance past the Bucks, go ahead, prove me wrong. That's fine. But I'm taking the Bucks in this one. And lastly, Warriors versus Rockets. Rockets are actually favored in this one, minus 1.5. I believe this one's in Houston as well.
It is. I personally would like the Rockets, but if I'm betting, I would take the Warriors.
Take the Warriors.
Yeah.
I don't see this series being any more than a gentleman's sweep, 4-1. The fact is, the Chris Paul has been diminished since last year. He's just gotten a little bit older. He's not the same player, so they don't have as much firepower. They're relying on the whistles that they've been getting all season, and all of a sudden they're not getting them. So because of bad officiating, the last one was actually pretty well officiated. It was even on both sides. I'm gonna have to take the Warriors.
And in Game 3, Klay didn't shoot very well, and they lost in overtime.
And Steph, wide open dunk.
Yeah, man, that's gotta be one of the greatest moments of all time.
It was pretty insane. Okay, unfortunately, guys, that is it for us here on Meet Me Halfway. Next episode, we're going to talk NFL over-unders for the projected win total. We're going to talk about the top 5 most vicious animals on Earth. Very much looking forward to that next Thursday, or this Thursday, rather. Tune in to Meet Me Halfway. Austin, you guys say bye to the people.
Peace out, y'all.
All right. You guys have a great day. Thank you for listening.